Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. I want to deal with an issue that will increasingly be coming before us for focus. As a matter of fact, increasingly it will become the epicenter of God's activity on earth, and that's the city of Jerusalem. And I want to deal with it, first of all, from the standpoint of a rabbi, and then from the standpoint of a Christian. And I'm dealing with it from the standpoint of Rabbi Tuli Weiss, who writes for Israel 365. You can get that. He writes very frequently, and he's very favorably disposed toward evangelical Christians. Recently he wrote in connection with Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 1, he said, "Arise and shine," speaking of Jerusalem, "for your light has come, and the glory of Yahweh rises upon you." And Rabbi Weiss notes that the prophet addresses Jerusalem, calling upon the city to awaken and shine its light upon the world. Chaim Weizmann lived from 1874 to 1952. Was a prominent scientist and Zionist leader who would have the honor of becoming the first president of the state of Israel. In 1948, Weizmann eloquently explained the illumination that Jerusalem would provide the world as a new capital of the Jewish state. And that was finally recognized when the embassy was moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in 2018 by the Trump administration. Jerusalem holds a unique place in the heart of every Jew. Its restoration symbolizes the redemption of Israel. Rome was to the Italians the emblem of the military conquest and political organization. Athens embodies for the Greeks the noblest their genius had wrought in art and thought. To us, to the Jews, the rabbi says, Jerusalem has both a spiritual and temporal significance. It is the city of God. It's referred to as that in the scriptures, throughout the scriptures, the city of God. It is also the capital of David and Solomon. And to the followers of two other great monotheistic religions, Jerusalem is the site of the sacred associations and holy memories. To us, to the Jews, it is that and more than that. It is the center of our ancient national glory. It was our lodestar in all our wanderings. It embodies all that is noblest in our hopes for the future. Jerusalem is. It is the eternal mother of the Jewish people, precious and beloved even in its desolation. When David made Jerusalem the capital of Judea, on that day there began the Jewish Commonwealth. When Titus, the Roman general, destroyed the Commonwealth on the 9th of Av, on that day there ended the Jewish Commonwealth. However, nevertheless, even though our Commonwealth was destroyed, we never gave up on Jerusalem. It seems inconceivable that the establishment of the Jewish state should be accompanied by the detachment from it of its spiritual center and historical capital. While that's true of the Jews, for the Christians it is equally true. Jerusalem is the city where Jesus ministered and lived for a time. It's a city where he was crucified and resurrected. From Jerusalem, Jesus ascended to heaven, and to Jerusalem he will return on the Mount of Olives. And he will rule and reign for 1,000 years from Jerusalem. That will happen. Jerusalem will be the epicenter of God's activity. Matter of fact, Isaiah 62 tells us this. God says, for Zion's sake I will not keep silent. For Jerusalem's sake I will not remain quiet till her righteousness shines like a thorn and her salvation like the blazing torch. In Isaiah 62 verse 6, God says, I have posted watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem. They will never be silent day or night. You who call upon Yahweh, give yourselves no rest, and give him, that is Yahweh, give him no rest until he establishes Jerusalem. And he will establish Jerusalem as a center from which he will judge and rule and reign. And that is the truth.